Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Or if you're new and this is your first time checking the channel out, welcome to the Chronicles of Colvin, where we do movie news, movie talk, movie rumors. We break stuff down. We do movie reviews, all sorts of good stuff. So if you're new or if you've been watching and you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. It really helps build the channel and get the video out there. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss any new videos or content that I have coming out. Today, if you can't tell by my hat and my shirt, we have some DC news to talk about. DCU news as well as DC news. A big rumor broke today that we're going to take a look at. And we're going to see what's happened with that rumor and what I think, if it's true or if it's not, what my theories are about it. And just kind of give my overall thoughts on it, and see where I think things are going to go with this rumor. But first, a couple things to get into first. There was a shareholders meeting yesterday with Warner Brothers, and some things were announced. This article is coming from the Hollywood Reporter, which it says, the Batman 2 to shoot in spring, James Gunn writing next movie in Super Family. A letter to Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders on Thursday said that Superman director James Gunn is working on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, Clayface, and the next Wonder Woman. Which we already knew all that. Goes on to say Robert Pattinson's diary continues to fill up as Matt Reeves' The Batman sequel is preparing to shoot in the spring, according to Warner Brothers Discovery. The Batman Part 2 will finally begin filming next year, the company said in a letter to shareholders Thursday, aiming for an October 1st, 2027 theatrical release. Reeves completed the script in June. His first DC film premiered to a huge success in 2022, grossing over $770 million worldwide. Pattinson starred in the title role and will return to Gotham in Part 2. He's been busy so far this year shooting other tentpole features such as Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey and Denis Villeneuve's Dune 3. Elsewhere, James Gunn is already preparing to write the next installment in the Super Family. David Zaslav also confirmed with the letter detailing that Gunn is working on Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, Clayface, and the next Wonder Woman. Gunn's Superman hit with David Corenswet at the forefront has surpassed $500 million at the global box office. Warner Brothers continued, DC Studios' universe of characters represents not only one of Warner Brothers Discovery's most valuable pieces of intellectual property, but one of the most valuable assets in entertainment. Gunn came to Reeves' defense last year on social media when fans were criticizing the 5-year gap between The Batman and The Batman Part 2. To be fair, a 5-year gap or more is fairly common in sequels, the DC Studios co-CEO said. 7 years between Alien and Aliens, 14 years between Incredibles, 7 years between the first 2 Terminators, 13 years between Avatars, 36 years between Top Guns, and of course 6 years between Guardians Volume 2 and Volume 3. But Infinity War and Endgame were also in there between that they were in. So you can't really say 6 years on that one. People should get off Matt's nuts because it's like, let the guy write the screenplay in the amount of time he needs to write it, he continued. That's just the way it is. He doesn't owe you something because you like his movie. I mean, you like his movie because of Matt, so let Matt do things the way he does. The letter also said the 10-year vision for the DC universe also includes an exciting array of television projects, including The Penguin, which recently garnered 24 Emmy nominations and was watched by nearly 20 million HBO Max subscribers, the upcoming new season of Peacemaker, and the debut of Lanterns in 2026. There was also the rumor that Matt was ill and that's why it took so long to get the script out there, because he was dealing with some health issues. But anyway, a lot of people kind of ran with this article about the whole super family, that James Gunn was working on a super family film. I don't see where it necessarily says he's working on a super family film other than Supergirl. It says he's already preparing to write the next installment in the Super Family, which would be Supergirl, and they could do a Superman and Supergirl movie, but it's not going to be like a big super family like with Superboy and his sons and John Kent, and I don't think it'll be like that. That's what people are thinking it is, and they're thinking they're rushing it all. So that was the first interview. So now we're going to get into the big rumor that dropped today. And that rumor is that Robin is going to be in the Batman Part 2. This broke today. I saw it all over social media. I have an article here about it. We're going to read the article, and then I'm going to talk about it. But it says Batman Part 2 will introduce Robin as Robert Pattinson's sidekick, says report. Sources claim the Boy Wonder will join the Caped Crusader in the long-awaited sequel. The Batman Part 2 has officially entered pre-production after numerous delays caused by the SAG-AFTRA strike and writer-director Matt Reeves' commitment to a perfect script. With Reeves announcing last month that the screenplay is complete, new rumors have it that the sequel will introduce Robin alongside Robert Pattinson's Batman. The report comes from Jeff Snyder's The Insider, who claims a well-placed source revealed Robin is in Reeves' and co-writer Mattson Tomlin's script. The source also said that the screenwriters were taking a big swing with the sequel and that the script was worth the wait. We'll see if the Boy Wonder joins the Caped Crusader in the DC Elseworlds project, i.e. a DC Studios production is not part of James Gunn and Peter Safran's main interconnected DC universe. When the Batman Part 2 finally arrives on October 1st, 2027, Pattinson will return as Batman with Colin Farrell as the Penguin, Andy Serkis as Alfred, and Jeffrey Wright as Jim Gordon, all expected to return. Although unconfirmed, Zoe Kravitz and Barry Keoghan are likely to reprise their respective roles as Catwoman and the Joker. So, I think this rumor is true. This was what I wanted to see out of this sequel. I don't want to see another Batman in the DCU. I want Robert Pattinson to be the main Batman. I don't think it's a good decision to have two Batman. Now, if they're going to introduce a Robin in this, they were already talking about the Brave and the Bold, which was going to be the Batman in the DCU, and that was going to be Batman and Damian as Robin. And now you have two Batmans, two Robins, whatever other characters you're going to have in Robert Pattinson's Batman, are you going to do those again in the DCU? They already confirmed that Clayface was actually supposed to be the villain in the Batman Part 2, but supposedly James Gunn convinced Matt to let them use that character. I think I really liked the Batman movie. I thought it was a different, original take on the character, and I loved the world that they built. And with James, he keeps saying that the tone in all these movies are not going to be the same. They're all going to be different, just like in the comic books. Well, I think that's a perfect route to introduce this Batman and just bring him into the DCU and have him be in that dark, gritty corner of Gotham. And then you can have Superman in Metropolis, bright symbol, beacon of hope, and then still have Batman, and you can build the Bat family out. It's been 5 years since it'll be 5 years when it comes out in 2027 since we last saw this Batman. And in that, he had been Batman for 2 years. So I think my theory, what I would like to see, would be do a time jump. Either you don't have to do the full 5 years, but you could do 3 years, or 5 years. I wouldn't necessarily say even have an origin story for Robin. I would just almost make it that he's already there and explain it. One of the things that I really liked about the Batman movie was the monologues. And I feel like a perfect way to set that up and to introduce that into the DCU would be do a monologue and have Robert Pattinson, I'm going to do an impression, it might not be very good, but have him do a monologue and just say, It's been 5 years since the Riddler flooded Gotham. I realized I couldn't do this on my own. I needed help. I had to build a family. At first, there was Dick, who lost his parents, much like I lost mine. I took him in, and he helped me to wage war on crime as a boy wonder, a Robin in the night. And just do something like that. I mean, you could introduce multiple Robins if you really wanted to. I think the way you have to do it, though, he can't be young because it's not going to fit that world. He's definitely going to have to be 17, 18-year-old Dick Grayson, which I'm fine with. And I think that can work alongside Robert Pattinson's Batman. And I think it would be... We haven't had a really good Batman and Robin storyline. I mean, we've never had a really good one. Batman Forever was probably the best Batman and Robin that we had. So I would love to see this in the movie and for the DCU. And I think they only need one Batman and one Robin. Not one in the DCU, not one outside, because I think this movie is going to be much better than anything they're going to do for the DCU Batman, and it's going to blow it out of the water, and then they're going to have a really messed up situation. So, anyway, this rumor broke. We're going to take a look at another article, because James Gunn came out, and he denied this rumor. We're going to read this article, and then we're going to talk about what it says. This is from IGN, and it says, "The Batman 2 won't feature Robin, James Gunn confirms. I think 6 of us have read the script." DC Studios co-CEO James Gunn has stepped in to shut down rumors that Robin will appear in The Batman 2, now that writers Matt Reeves and Mattson Tomlin have finally turned in their script. Fans first latched onto the hope that the Boy Wonder would play a part in the upcoming Robert Pattinson-led Batman sequel following a report from Jeff Snyder. At the time, Snyder claimed to have learned details about the Batman 2 script, explaining that at least one version of Robin would show up. At least one version of Robin would show up. Many were already skeptical about how Robin would operate in Reeves and Tomlin's gritty take on Gotham. While Gunn now doing his best to douse the flames entirely, in a post on Threads, he calls the rumor nonsense, adding that only a limited number of people on the planet have even had the chance to read the newly turned-in script. "Guys, please stop believing this nonsense," the DC head said. "I think 6 of us had read the script. No one knows anything about the Batman 2. Reeves, who is also attached as director for the Batman 2, turned in the script for his sequel June 27, 2025, nearly 3 years removed from the original movie's premiere. In other words, it makes sense that such a high-profile script has been seen by so few since being handed in a little more than 1 month ago. There's no doubt Gunn and company are keeping the Batman 2's long-in-development script and story under lock and key as it aims to begin shooting in spring 2026. Here's where it gets interesting. Gunn has used his social media status to shut down DC movie rumors in the past, even if those same rumors eventually turned out to have some truth to them. In April 2024, Gunn fought off talk that his now-released Superman movie, which he wrote and directed, would feature a clone of his title character. At the time, he confirmed David Cornsweet's Superman would be going head-to-head with Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor, adding, "I don't know where all the stuff is coming from, that it's something other than this." Although that specific rumor stemmed from a completely different source, those who have turned up to see the film since its premiere last month were indeed met with Ultraman, a clone of Superman created by Lex Luthor. A Robin appearance in the Batman 2 sounds a bit far-fetched compared to the rumors surrounding Ultraman, but Gunn's denial at least signals that he likes keeping his cards close to his chest until things really start to fall into place. Following a few delays, the Batman 2 is finally scheduled to come to theaters October 1st, 2027. The rest of the DC crew are also working on Batman the Brave and the Bold, a DCU film that will include Damian Wayne, who is best known as Bruce Wayne's son, and one of DC's many Robins. With so many Caped Crusaders running around, Gunn says Batman has become quite the problem for him, going as far as to call the character his biggest issue in all of DC. Which I think is absolutely right. It's his biggest problem because he wants to do a new Batman in the DCU, but he already has a Batman. They already have a Batman movie coming out. It's going into pre-production spring of 2026. They don't have a script yet for The Brave and the Bold. So that's my thought. I think this Robin rumor is true. I think they have read the script. I think maybe they knew certain things about the script before Matt Reeves turned it in. I think James Gunn told Matt he wants Robin in it, and I think they're molding The Brave and the Bold into the Batman Part 2. And I think the Batman Part 2 is actually going to end up being Batman the Brave and the Bold, or The Batman the Brave and the Bold. I think they're going to end up morphing them together, because as good as the first Batman was, I think Matt Reeves, he's had plenty of time to write this script, and I think it's going to be great. I think it's going to be much like, The Dark Knight after Batman Begins. I think this is going to be better than the first one, and I think them including Robin could be a great way to incorporate that and bring it into the DCU. And they really don't even have to bring it into the DCU until the end. They can do a post-credit scene or a mention of something that just says, it's set in the DCU, and then you can have him show up in, Superman Project or a Justice League Project or World's Finest Project or something. But I think James Gunn is lying. I think Robin is absolutely in this movie. Of course, he's not going to come out and say, yes, Robin's in the movie. They haven't done any casting, nothing as far as that. And he can easily recant that statement later on if they do cast for it. Because, we've seen time and time again, James Gunn will say one thing and do another thing and recant what he says. But that's all part of trying to do this. You're not going to come out and say, yeah, the rumors are right, Robin's in this movie. No, you're going to downplay it because you want people to be surprised. You want that shock effect. And so and they're not going to do 2 Batmans and 2 Robins. That's just going to be way too confusing for people, especially the general audience that don't follow these movies and just go to the movies. Why are there 2 Batman? Why are there 2 Robins? That's just opening up a can of worms that you don't want to have. And David Zaslav has already said in the past that he does not want 2 Batman. They only want 1 Batman, 1 Superman. They don't want multiple characters in multiple universes. And that was, the thing that really hindered them in the past. Even when they had the DCEU, they were doing all these spin-off things that weren't connected in the DCU, like Teen Titans that wasn't part of the DCU, and they did all this other stuff that wasn't part of the DCEU. And people, if they're watching for a connected universe, they don't want to watch something that's not connected to that story and something that's completely different. I never watched Teen Titans, and I'm a DC fan. I never watched Teen Titans just because of that fact. It wasn't connected to the DCEU. I didn't want to watch one thing and then have to go watch something else that wasn't part of that world. Just like the Arrowverse, it wasn't part of the DCEU. And you had all these different things going on and no connected universe and no one overseeing really any of it. And if they do 2 Batman and 2 Robins like this, it's just going to be the same thing that's happened in the past, and it's not going to go anywhere. But that's my thoughts on that. One last thing I want to talk about before I end this video was Alan Ritchson. Alan Ritchson has been rumored to play Batman, and there is a lot of fan castings, I guess you could say, and fan support for him to play Batman. But a picture came out of a project that he is in coming up. Motor City, it's a new action movie, and they released a first photo of him on the set here, and I'm going to try to pull this picture up because there's a couple different pictures, and I'm going to show both of them that I found, because this look of Alan Ritchson, I don't want him as Batman. I want him as Aquaman, because I think he looks like a perfect 90s version of Aquaman in the comics. You remember when he had the long blonde hair and the beard, and he only had one hand? He had the hook on the hand, on the other hand. That's what this looks like. And I am a fan of this casting of Alan Ritchson as Aquaman. And he's already played Aquaman before in Smallville, so I think it'd be great to see him play, you know, in the DCU, play Aquaman. And I mean, he looks perfect for it. He's got the build, he's got the look, and here's a side-by-side look of this look and that version in the comics when he had the long hair and beard. And I mean, look at this. I mean, that's perfect casting. He's not Bruce Wayne to me. That's Arthur Curry. So I just thought that I wanted to share that and get that out there too. So anyway, if you've stayed along through the whole video, thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think about all this news that came out. If you think Robin's going to be in the movie Batman Part 2, if you think it's just a rumor and it's not going to be true, if you're excited for that movie, if you think the Batman's actually going to get moved and take place in the DCU, or if you think it's going to be kept completely separate, let me know what you think in the comments. Again, thanks for watching. If you haven't yet, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any more videos that I have coming out. And just thank you for the support, and we will see you on the next video.